All right, here we go. The shame blueprint behind ambition. Oh man, this is going to be good because shame is at the root of all complex trauma, of all your issues, of all your insecurities. The underlying thing is shame. And what is shame? Shame isn't guilt. What's the difference between guilt and shame? Well, guilt is a emotion you feel to keep your moral compass on track. Letting you know when you do something wrong to somebody that doesn't feel good. That's not a good thing to do. Shame is a core belief of who you are. So the shame blueprint behind ambition, shame isn't think you did something wrong. It's believing you are something wrong. High performers rarely look insecure. They look driven. And I can tell you that this is me. And I got a story for you I'd like to share with you. And that is when I was going through the Lift course with the Tim Fletcher platform, the course changed my life. I highly recommend it to any of you guys who are diving into doing the healing work and gaining knowledge about what's going on from the inside out. Is the high performers rarely look insecure, right? Like I was an athlete growing up through high school. I went to the Marine Corps 2 weeks after graduating. I wanted to be a badass, you know? And then I ended up becoming a concrete contractor, which is like the Marines of the trades, you know? It's the tough one. You got to be a tough cookie to get out there and work concrete every day. And so I had this outer appearance that I was pretty macho, pretty badass, you know, was an athlete, I was a Marine, a concrete contractor. And so, you know, on the outside, you'd say, man, this guy, he's got it going on. He's secure, you know, he's doing things and man. But as I had a trigger happen, and triggers are amazing. Triggers are what help you heal. Because here's a Peter Crone quote for you, and that is, life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free. So as much as you want to justify how you feel through when someone else does something or a circumstance happens, it's always revealing something within you. And as I was filling out my catalyst journal out on the mountain one day, I got to a point where I felt super justified in a jealous trigger that I had. And I didn't want to let it go. It got to the part where it's like where you have to look at yourself and you can't blame. You got to take full responsibility. I didn't want to let it go. Oh man, I didn't want to let it go. And you know what I did? I got up out of I had my little lawn chair out there. I got up, and we got pine trees, right? So I got up and I hugged this pine tree. And I asked the tree to help me. I was like, please help me see what it is I don't want to see. What is it? And I just opened up, you know? And I sat down, and as soon as I sat down, it just boom. And it was, you're insecure. And it just hit me. I felt it. And I said, I'm insecure. And I began to weep and felt how I've been insecure my whole life. And that I'd been looking for security in all of the external things. Now I have to tell you, you know, when this happened, I was on a sabbatical. I had left the concrete world to go on this sabbatical to find myself. And so the identity of being the concrete contractor wasn't there. I was completely just living. I didn't know who I was trying to find who the authentic, genuine Jonathan Fuller was. And so I hope that story can maybe help y'all. So define shame in business context here. I'm not enough. I'm only as valuable as my output. If I slow down, I'll be exposed. If I lose, I am a loser. we begin to believe that if I fail, then I am a failure. You know, I'm not enough. And you're only as valuable as your output, right? You know, I worked really hard as a kid with my dad and felt like, hey, I got some value because I'm a hard worker, and so I must be valuable because my dad thinks I'm valuable, and I'm bringing value to his business, and I'm a hard worker, and man, that feels good. And then, you know, there's this loop. Shame creates overcompensation, achievement, temporary relief, repeat. So it becomes the cycle. Shame, overcompensation, achievement, temporary relief, repeat. The dopamine hit, right? And the cortisol loop is what we can call it. The dopamine cortisol loop. Shame, overcompensation, achievement, temporary relief, repeat. And this can become your whole life. People have died in this loop. Don't be the person that dies in this loop. I just recently watched Click with Adam Sandler, I believe it's called, where he had this remote and he'd fast forward through all the inconvenient times, but he missed out on life because he was just always, and he had that loop going on. His complex trauma, his shame that he had to achieve, he had to succeed to be okay. His nervous system had to get all of those things to be okay. But in the meantime, he lost the most important things, his wife and his kids. How shame hijacks leadership. One who sees and draws the best out of other people following. That's what a leader is to me. One who sees and draws the best out of other people, of the people who are following. But what shame can hijack this leadership: hypercriticism of self and team, fear-based decisions, imposter syndrome, emotional shutdown, struggling with intimacy at home. Do you have a boss, or are you a boss that's doing these things? Hypercriticism of self and team. See, when you're hypercritical to yourself, you're going to be hypercritical to your team at work, to your family, to your wife, and then that doesn't end up well. There's strife and chaos, and there's no peace. So the key is to find the peace within yourself. Oh yeah. Got somebody going down the highway here. You make decisions in fear, the anxiety of the future from the past. You know, you got imposter syndrome. You know, even Navy SEALs have imposter syndrome. They go through the hardest training in the world. They get it, they make it, and they feel like they don't belong. You see, our brain is always pushing us, even to those extreme extents as being a Navy SEAL, some of the hardest training in the world, and they complete it, and it's still not enough. The brain, the mind, the shame from the complex trauma is still driving them. Not enough. You're still not enough. Even though you made it, you're an imposter. You don't belong here. Isn't that crazy? That what our mind does. So when your mind is always pushing you in business to do the next thing, get the next thing, when you get there, has it ever been enough? I know it wasn't enough for me. When I was pushing myself, I always had to push it even further. So here's a nice little tool for you, and that is since you're the observer of your thoughts, right? I hope you know that. If you don't, you do now. You're not your thoughts. Your thoughts are passing like clouds in the sky. You're the observer of your thoughts. And who's that? Who is that? That's the authentic version of you, the true you. So what you can start to do with these thoughts who aren't you is say, and then what? When it's like, you got to push, you got to do the next thing, get the next goal for the business. And then what? And it'll shut up and it'll be like, oh, you got me. Yeah, it'll be something else once you get it. So that's where we have to find the balance in life and the business and begin to connect with source, walk in coherence and peace, and allow that flow state, that oneness that we are, begin to guide your professional life, your family life. Your success may be impressive, but is it peaceful? It's just what I'm saying. It may be successful, but how do you flow with that and have the peace? That's the key. And so for the next one, part 3, the nervous system cost of high performance. The nervous system cost for high performance. See you in the next video. Peace.